Hi, my name is Christina Salazar. I've been living in the UK for about 5 years. I'm originally from Mexico. Living here has made me realise how many people are from all different countries. So it's a very multicultural country. England is known around the world for so many different attractions such as the Big Ben and the London's Eye, and obviously its beautiful fields. Today we're going to find out a bit more about the subject, so come on, let's go. We're now in Portsmouth, which is a multicultural town in Hampshire, and this is mainly because of the University of Portsmouth. There's loads of students who go to it, and we're going to investigate and find out more about the courses they do and what kind of people there are. Come on, let's go. What do you think about English and other cultures?
I really like the English culture. It gives you freedom what you can be and what you can achieve in your life.
Different culture need communicating with other different cultures.
So now that we know what people think about other cultures, we're going to go to the university and ask some students to tell us about their culture. At first, was it difficult to study in another country, I suppose your country?
Basically, I think that the challenges that I face here is the independent life as a university student overseas, away from home, and we have to be independent, like learn to cook on our own, maintain our own laundry and stuff like that.
There are some challenges because the way we study is different from theirs.
I think the first few months when I came here is when I had a class, I don't understand what my professor is saying, talking about. It's like I think like 70%, 80% that I cannot understand. Because
What, at first? Not now?
Oh, not now. Definitely. The first few, I think 3 months are so tough for me. The language is so difficult.
What would you say is the main difference between British culture and your culture?
I'd say the main difference for me would be the food.
Right.
Because the food here is like almost all of it are instant. Like you just pop it in the microwave and
Fast food.
Fast food, yeah. And back in my country we cook food, and even when you eat outside it's cooked.
Right.
Yeah, and here, even if you eat outside, it's still things you could find in.
Yeah. But what about like fish and chips, lasagna?
Fish and chips, lasagna, yeah, those are a few foods that's okay,
Yeah.
but still, I prefer food back in my home country because there are more flavors in it. They're spicy and sometimes there's sour. So in this here it's almost the same taste.
Right.
I think British net is rarely, to express their feelings in public. And this is really different with my Chinese, because Chinese is usually, they always like express happiness, sadness, maybe outside, but English is not very. I think very traditional English is very, I think kind of indifferent. Can I use indifferent? I mean, because I can see the relationship between the friends and the relatives are kind of indifferent. Because compared to Chinese, we are very loyal to our friends. It's like, if you need any help, it's like go for it. But also I think, but also UK, I mean, English has a lot of merits. I mean, advantage. How to say? Very good thing, good aspects of this nation.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're very polite, and kind of was romantic. And yeah.
Well, in my culture, we seldom take alcohol, and I can see that the locals here, they often went to parties and have alcohol.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's been great. It's been a lovely time. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Well, now that we know more about the students and what they had trouble with when they first came here, we're going to find out more about families rather than just students. So we're going to do a bit more research about the families and how they settle down in England. So come on, let's go. Hello. How are you?
Fine.
What was the most difficult part of moving countries?
I consider that is living your family, people who you love, and usually you met them for a lunch, dinner, short trips, you know, weekends, like family, every day on weekends.
What's the main difference between Mexican culture and British culture?
People, they behave different. And as a Mexican, Latin people is very friendly, very sociable, very talkative, and British people, no, they have, well, they are shy people. Hardly ever you can establish a conversation with somebody on the street.
How long have you known a family for?
I think the family have been in the neighbourhood for approximately 18 months, but I've always been intrigued with their culture because I know through talking to them that they come from Mexico, and I've been curious about that particular culture. I suppose it's only been since August of last year that we actually started properly talking to each other. Before then we were all sociable and saying hello to each other in passing, and yes, I think the relationships have developed since then.
What is it like to be around them?
Well, it's different, okay? Now I mean that in a positive sense. They're a very tight family group. They always stick together, and which is nice. And whilst they're a little bit wary of outsiders from time to time, they're still ready to be sociable with outsiders, which is nice. But I've learnt a lot about the culture since I've been with them, and I suppose they've learnt a lot about our culture as well. I was expecting them to be highly religious, but I've not found that to be the case. They respect religion. I've no doubt they've got some, and I haven't really gone into that in any great depth. But from that aspect, I actually don't see a lot of differences between the sort of British mentality and theirs, apart, as I say, from that sort of tight-knit family culture, which is so good to see.
What could you say is the main difference, like between your culture and
well, at the risk of repeating myself, I think, you know, the idea of people sitting around a table and actually sharing things together, eating together, having fun in the same room as each other, is something that belongs in a bygone age to the sort of English system, and it's lovely to see it. I wish more people would do it today, because today in the English society people will go off and do their own thing in their own room. They'll have their own meals in their own room, they'll be playing with their PlayStation, watching films. They won't get together at all. They'll just live completely isolated lives. That's why it's nice. When I come round here, they often invite me around for meals and things like that, that I actually see this going on, and I just, you know, hearken back to the times in Britain when it was that way.
I'm 17 years old. I moved here when I was about 10, 11. At first I found it very hard to settle down because I didn't speak a word of English. I went to school. I remember my first day was really embarrassing because everyone kept like saying hi to me and talking to me, and I was just like, just don't, because, you know, I can't talk back to you, and I felt really rude. I felt out of place. Sometimes, you know, you feel like you're obviously different to them. You dress differently, you act different, you talk different, you look different. Moving countries can be stressful, just for the simple fact that you're having to leave everything behind. You're having to leave family, you're having to leave friends, you're having to leave your house, your home, your culture, really.